Hi all, today's video is going to be my tattoo tour, tattoo collection video. I have been wanting to film this for quite some time now, but I just wanted to get a few tattoos completed before I presented them to everybody. And I do finally have those tattoos completed, so we're sorted now and I'm ready to show you. Getting tattooed and being a tattooed person has been a huge part of my personal journey, and I'm so excited to keep continuing that and also sharing it with you all. It's really just helped me express myself and become who I am today. And for anyone that's curious, my tattoo style is like black and grey fine line tattoos. Predominantly, I guess that's what pretty much all of them are. There are a few, I suppose, that could be categorized as, I don't know, like stick and poke, or not exactly fine line black and grey, but you'll see what I mean. Lastly, I don't think I'll be mentioning any prices or pain ratings. Maybe I might throw something on the screen if I can remember, but after you've sort of had 32 tattoos, you sort of start to forget that kind of thing. If I think it's interesting, or if I think anyone would be curious as to how much I paid or how much something hurt, I might put something up. If you have any questions though and you would like to know a little bit more, please don't hesitate to put anything in the comments. Okay, so I'm just going to start from the very top and work my way down. I'm going to talk fairly quickly about it because I don't want to spend too much time on each tattoo and their meaning, because not all of them do have a meaning. Also, there are 32 of them, so it's going to take me a while to kind of go from top to bottom. So let's begin at the top. So my first tattoo up the top, and also my most recent tattoo, is my throat, or sides of neck, whatever you want to call it. I got this a couple weeks ago, sorry, and I am in love with it. This was a tattoo where I was like, all right, I'm ready to have a tattoo that I can't unhide, and I want people to see that I am tattooed. So this was my neck tattoo. As you can see, it's like smoke. Some people say it looks like wet hair, which I think is kind of funny. Other people say it looks kind of like fire and stuff, but for me it means it's like smoke. I also made sure that when I got it from the artist that we shaped it to my neck to sort of accentuate part of my neck. So I'm in love with this tattoo so much. And as you can see, it's mirrored on both sides, so it's exactly the same on one side as it is on the other. And you'll see as we go down my chest and neck area, that's kind of the look that I'm going for. I also want to continue that all the way down to my stomach, so we'll see how we go with that, but I'm very excited to have sort of a mirrored image look going on both sides of my front of my body. The next tattoo I have is on the back of my neck, or between my shoulder blades. It's actually the first tattoo I got, so it's kind of funny that I started with the last tattoo I got and the first tattoo I got. But yes, the one on the back of my neck is the first one. My mother and I both have the same tattoo. It's probably a little hard to see now because it was a very, very old tattoo, and it's probably done by not a great tattoo artist, but it says mother-daughter, and it's a sign of Virgo because my mother and I are born on the same day, and it was sort of my first lead into getting tattoos, and after that I was absolutely hooked. Moving down to the center of my collarbone throat area, I have a 4-point star. Just a little tiny 4-point star. I really wanted something kind of small and dainty in that area to sort of bring everything to the center. And that was done a couple months ago now, maybe just before COVID. I love my little star. Even though it's quite small and it's not really anything too crazy, I just love my little star so much. So the next thing we have is the orb, which is in the center of my chest. This was inspired by Vivienne Westwood's orb. I just think it's sort of for me, it's an ode to fashion and the punk sort of era of fashion. I wanted it to be a little bit more hefty and spiky than Vivienne's orb that is her signature logo. So it's got its own spikes. It's also separately its own sort of piece. It just took a little bit of inspiration from her orb. I also feel like it's one of those tattoos that you won't see very often. It's very unique because it only takes a small little bit of inspiration from Vivienne Westwood's orb, but pretty much the whole entire thing was made up sort of on the spot by my tattoo artist. So I feel like it's a very unique piece, and sitting right in the center of my chest, I really appreciate that it's not one that you've really seen before. Above my boobs, I have what some people like to call chicken wire, which I'm so offended by that. These sort of wire fencing tattoos. This is, again, as you can see, it's sort of mirrored on both sides. But this was sort of meant to accentuate, why do I keep saying it like that? It sounds so stupid. Accentuate the shape of my boobs. I really wanted to give it kind of the illusion that my boobs were a bit more rounder than they are. And I love that you can do that kind of stuff with tattoos. So that sort of goes from almost the point of my armpits all the way through down into my cleavage. And I love this tattoo because it just, when I wear lower cut tops, which it also pushes me to wear lower cut tops because I'm normally a high neck kind of person, I can show off this awesome shape across my chest. Okay, so sort of moving down towards below my boobs and down, On my sternum, so right on the front of my chest, like below my boobs in my sternum area, I have a heart with a big cross chain and I believe a rose in it. This was done by Sarah Helen. She's so good at tattoos and I love my piece by her. I will get another piece by her one day. It was just like, it was probably a pretty painful tattoo, I'm not gonna lie, but like, I love this tattoo. I get a lot of compliments on it. It's one of those ones that I don't show often because I don't often wear something that small, like, you know, like a little bikini or a little bra or anything like that. So you don't get to see it often, but I love that it's just like this big, hefty tattoo that's still really like, I guess like female energy, feminine energy, whatever, but still really hefty. Moving on to the arms, I'm gonna start on my most empty arm, which literally only has one tattoo on it. On this arm, I have my wrist bracelet. I don't know what you call it, like razor wire bracelet, I suppose, and it has a bunch of charms on it. I'll briefly tell you what each charm is. This one is for my sibling, which has a lock with a letter in it. Moving on, I have this kind of angry skull guy. On the other side, it's a little hard to show, I have this spiky weapon. Oh, what do you call those? Mace? Is it a mace? A flail? Something like that. And then on the other side I have the symbol for him. I know it looks a little satanic, I promise you it's not. It's the symbol of my favorite band in the whole entire world, forever and ever, and just getting that on there was just like, I just had to do it. I just had to do it. Okay, moving on to my other arm. So this one's pretty much all filled out now. Up the top here I have the second tattoo I ever got, which was also the first tattoo that I got alone, and it's a rose with sort of like, I guess like beads coming off it. It's pretty old now. I do want to get it touched up so that it can have a bit more depth to it, because the artist that did it has obviously improved their work a lot and I think that they could bring it back to life a bit. I still appreciate this tattoo as it was the first one I got by myself, but it does need something more to it now to like lift it back up. So that's probably a working project there. Next, on the inside of my arm, I have my lips, which has a safety pin through it. And this was done by my dear friend, Sophie. She's absolutely amazing. I wanted to just have something quite a feminine energy to it, but I still retain that sort of punk vibe to it. Moving around, I have praying skeleton hands. This was sort of just an on-the-spot moment. It was just like, it was there, take it, just go for it. The artist was sort of giving me like a bit of a deal. He was like, you know, if you come in and spend X amount of money, I'll chuck 2 tattoos in. And I thought, why not? Love his work. His Instagram name is or was Dan John Rye. I'm not sure if it still is, but it's just like praying hands, skeleton hands with a lock on it around its wrists. On the back of my arm, I have my favorite little Scorpio boy. It's just like a metal, I guess, vibe, like scorpion, which has a skeleton for a face. He's heaps of fun. I kind of wish he was actually more to the front and the skeleton hands were more to the back, just because he's so much fun. But I think I might get another scorpion at some point, but that's that little guy back there. And then moving down my arm, I have this eye. It's sort of crying water, I guess, and like its eyelashes, above its eyelashes are like flames. Again, this was just one of those tattoos that was just like pick it and go, flashed, so I just went for it because why not? I don't think there's anything wrong with like not having a meaning behind your tattoos. I think it's totally fine to just like pick and go if you like it. On my elbow, we have this chain that has a like crumbling heart on it. This was another like pick off flash, but because of the person that I got it done by is a friend of mine, they sort of like expanded it like beyond the flash size just to fit around my elbow. I just think it's fun. I think it shapes my elbow really nicely, and it kind of always, like everything else I guess I have, sort of like fits that vibe of like punky tough, but still like feminine energy, whatever that means to you. So yeah. I realized this whole time I've been looking at myself in the viewfinder. It's such a bad habit, but I'm looking at you guys now. Moving on, I have my butterfly on the I guess like the bend of my elbow. I love this one. I just remember that I was like, I just want a butterfly. But the position of it is what really makes me happy because it just bends so nicely. It doesn't matter which way I sort of move my arm. I feel like it really just like works with the shape of my elbow. And yeah, I just love it. A nice soft butterfly. I feel like we all have like one of those like caterpillar to butterfly moments, so that's always fun. But yeah, just a little cute guy. So the next one's a bit more of a story. So I have like this traditional panther crawling up my arm. This is actually a cover up because the tattoo that was underneath it was done by an artist that actually did some inappropriate things with a client, and it kind of came out as like a big deal, obviously, because it is a big deal. I believe he was sending photos of clients to friends or something like that. It was absolutely disgusting. So a lot of tattoo artists, I believe, in like America and Australia, maybe even England, got together and said that they will cover his work for free because they don't put up with that in the industry, which I think is absolutely amazing. So we ended up covering this, dear friend of mine covered this up with the pamphlet. What was underneath there before was like a woman's hand holding a knife, but like the quality of the tattoo just sucked, and the story that goes along with who the tattoo artist is, I didn't want to carry that around with me because I don't put up with that kind of crap. So I'm happy to cover it with something that's a lot more tougher and leaves a bit of a like fuck you to that artist, because like we just don't put up with that industry, in that in the industry, no way. Moving on to the front, I have this flaming rose, probably one of my favorite tattoos that I have, apart from maybe my neck, or I'll go into that in a minute actually. I'll tell you which ones my favorite are at the end. The flaming rose, it's just like done really well, positioned really well. The experience was really nice. The guy who did it, 𝐋𝐨𝐶 was quite nice, easy to chat to, and I just think it's just, yeah, a really nicely done tattoo. So that's probably one of my top tattoos for sure. On the very back of my arm, it's quite faint and a little bit hard to see, but it's just a tiny little captive bead ring. This is sort of like, I guess, like an ode to my time being a body piercer. So I wanted to just get something small that sort of was my own little memory towards that. On the back of my arm, and excuse this sort of scratch that's going up there, my cat has got me with her claws, but I have this snake that sort of twists up and down towards my wrist. I originally wanted it in like a different shape, so I wanted the head like going down and then it looping in a figure eight over itself and then its tail dropping down, but we end up going with this. Probably could use a touch-up, not gonna lie. It's a bit old now and it could just use a touch-up because the guy who did it was an apprentice at the time. He's now a full-fledged artist, so I might go and get it touched up at some point, but for now I do like my snake, but I think I want a snake that's like a lot bigger somewhere else on my body, but for now I've got my little snake guy here. On this side of my arm, I have a string of like barbed wire. Again, this is another like flash, just pick up straight off the paper kind of thing, but I have always wanted like a piece of barbed wire somewhere on my body. I just like the way it looks, how it's all twisty and really, really sharp. I like tattoos that look like that because it's kind of like a protection, like it's kind of like an image of protection for myself. So I actually really love my little piece of barbed wire. It just kind of sits there by itself and I appreciate it. On the front of my arm, we have my smoking woman's face. She's like, it's a woman's face and she's surrounded by smoke. 𝐓𝐚𝐲𝐥𝐸 did this, and it was sort of like an on-the-spot drawing situation, so it wasn't from Flash, it was just like drawn on the spot, which was kind of a fun experience. I just said I wanted something feminine, maybe a face. I like smoke, I like flames, whatever. So he came up with this sort of face in a flame, in like a frame of flames. I think she's really cool. I just like her. She just sort of sits there by herself. This tiny little one on the front of my wrist is a crosshatch of like 5. It's to symbolize the first like 5 piercings that I did in my piercing job. And I also just like that it's kind of got that like jail look to it. But I think it's done, like it was done by an apprentice, a dear friend of mine who was apprenticing at the time. And the line weight is quite uneven, but I actually really like that. I don't know, it just adds to that sort of like sketchy vibe of it. So that's my little crosshatch there. On the back of my wrist, it says Mama. Probably my 3rd or 4th tattoo that I ever got done. Pretty self-explanatory, it's for my mother. I call her Mama. Yeah, I just love my mum. My mum and I have the best connection I personally think that you could ever have with any mum. So I'm just so lucky to have my mum in my life and be such a strong character for me, because I don't have a dad in my life, but I'm not sad about that. That's fine, it happens. So ode to my dear mama. I love you, mum, and I know you're watching this. I love you. All right, on my legs, I have Saint Sinner, Angel Lucifer, but above and below my knees. I just remember wanting this tattoo really bad and thinking about it for ages. There's actually a little bit of a story, I guess, behind, not even a story, just like a little thing behind it. The Saint Sinner for me is like sort of having like a equality and equalness between being good and being a good person and like fucking up, because we all do it, we all make mistakes, and also like kind of going against what people think you should do. So that's the saint sinner side. The other side, Angel, Lucifer, are actually the cats that I've had in my life. So Angel was my first ever cat, and rest her beautiful soul, I miss her so much. She was my first childhood cat. We had the best bond ever. I feel like she was my like spiritual guide or something like that. And Lucifer is my other cat. So you might hear me say Lucy, spelled L-U-C-I. Her full name is Lucifer, but we don't call her that, that's a mouthful, but it's like, it's the thought is there, her name's Lucifer. And yes, I have been pulled up on this tattoo once or twice by someone being like, oh, Satanism, and I'm just like, please get that away from me. I don't want to talk about religion with anyone, just, it's all good. Go away, don't look at my tattoos and don't talk to me about them. On the lowest part of my leg, I have a hand holding some cherries that are all like juicy. This was a tattoo that I wanted to just sort of be like, again, like that sort of like feminine energy, but sort of sexy as well. I think something about her holding the cherries and the juice dripping down her arm, her wrist, is kind of like sexy. So that's that vibe there. I don't know if I'm going to mirror it on the other side, but it's open. It's open. It's an open space. It could happen. Finally, on the lower part of my ankle foot area, I have a flaming heart, which was done stick and poke by hand by my friend Sophie in her house. We just went over to her house one day. She made up a little flash sheet. I picked what I wanted off it and she hand poked it. Little fun experience. Just like, this is when I was sort of getting to know her a bit better. We just sort of hung out. Had some snacks and tattooed that little flaming heart. I obviously have a bit of an obsession with like flames and that kind of thing, so that was sort of why I picked that, because it's just like this strong little flaming heart. I also love the position of this one. I don't know why, I just think it sits really nicely. It's like a little guy down there. Next to that, I have a stick and poke that I did, which is another sort of like 4-point, well, I guess it's technically like 8-point star, but that sort of 4-point star look. I have a little stick and poke set that I've done like 2 tattoos with. I want to keep doing a few more on myself, but I just wanted to have a go, and I think it turned out alright. It's obviously a bit wobbly, but like that's part of the fun of stick and poke tattoos, I think, is just like doing something kind of average on yourself. But it's my like charm down there. And finally, on the inside of my foot below my ankle, I have like a very small collection of tiny dots. Those dots are actually the same tattoo that my cat has on the inside of, that Lucy has on the inside of her ear. I guess to like mark, I don't know why they do it actually, like to mark that she's an adopted cat, I don't know. Anyway, she's got those little tattoos on the inside of her ear, so I just mimicked it because I want to be connected to her, so. Okay, so that's all of my 32 tattoos. Now I'm just going to briefly sort of touch on like a few little bits and pieces about my tattoos. I want to talk a bit about my favorite tattoos. So I have a few favorite tattoos, and by favorite, it doesn't mean that I don't like love my other tattoos, it just means that these are like the standout pieces for me. So it's definitely going to be my latest tattoo, which is my throat. I just think it fits my features very well, accentuates like exactly the area that I wanted it to, and the experience that I had with the tattoo artist was really, really nice. Just really lovely to chat to him, really deep conversations that sort of get your brain going. Yeah, he was just really nice. But I just think that it's like a tattoo that you can't undo, that you can't hide, and that's exactly what I wanted from it, and I just think it's perfect. I want to say all of my chest and neck area because I love the whole thing as a collection, but I definitely think the little star in the center just really like pulls everything into like pulls the sort of eye into everything. So I definitely think that's one of my other favorite tattoos that I have for sure. My other favorite tattoos are probably the flaming rose on my arm. It's just so well executed. It's held up really well over time, and I just love the rose. I just love the imagery of a rose and the smoke and flames that are sort of coming off the top, whatever you want to call it. I just think it ties in really nicely, creates a really nice like triangular sort of shape. Yeah, I love it. And probably like my third favorite tattoo would probably have to be the little crosshatch for my 5 piercings that I did. I can't explain why I like it. Like, it's, you know, the idea of having done 5 piercings and having that there is nice. But I just really like it. It's just like this tiny little sneaky tattoo, and like when it pops out under my like clothes, I don't know, I just really like it. So hard to explain. It's just one of those things that you know in your heart that you like. So that is all of my tattoos, all 32 of them. I will obviously be doing another updated tattoo tour, tattoo collection once I get more, but that's kind of like my main collection, what I've been doing for the last, what is it, 9-10 years of my life. Crazy. I just want to say a massive thank you to every tattoo artist that has tattooed me. It means so much to be tattooed by so many amazing people and to carry their art on my body forever. If you are interested in looking at any of the artists, I will link as much as I can below of their socials or anything. So please go and give them a follow, a like, and enjoy their art as much as I do. If you have any questions, you want to know anything about my tattoos, you want to know my opinion on anything, you have anything to say, you have any comments, please feel free to leave them below. I'd love to know what your favorite tattoo of mine is. If you just want to talk tattoos, do not hesitate to hit me up on my socials or whatever, or in the comments below. That'd be great. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.
I am that bitch, now you know I'm that bitch, yeah. I am that bitch, yeah. You know I'm that bitch. I am that bitch, I'm a